The scent of rain on hot asphalt was the first thing Leo Volkov noticed. The second was the silence. Not true silence, the murmur of the city, a distant siren, the drip-drip from a magnolia leaf, but the profound, hollow quiet of Greenwood Cemetery at dusk. It was a place of polished marble and whispered wealth, a testament to generations of Volkov ambition. Yet, it was the one place where his fortune, a vast, intricate empire of tech ventures and real estate, felt weightless, insubstantial as the mist curling around the headstones. He stood before the simplest one, Elena Volkov, beloved wife, sunlight in human form. The granite was cool under his palm, worn smooth by his weekly visits. He'd come straight from a board meeting, the taste of expensive espresso and acrid tension still on his tongue. Here, he could shed the armor of the Volkov and just be Leo, the man who had loved a woman who grew herbs in coffee tins and measured success by the laughter at their dinner table. "The Parker deal closed, Leobimia," he murmured, his voice rough. It was brutal. Victor tried his old poison trick again. I miss your counsel. I miss you telling me it was just business, not a war." A drop of rain slid down his temple, like a tear. He closed his eyes, listening for an echo of her in the breeze. There was none. Then he heard another sound, not the wind, a raw, guttural, and utterly desolate weeping. It was a sound that didn't belong here, not in this curated sanctuary of quiet grief. It came from a few plots over, near a cluster of old oaks. Leo walked, his Italian loafers sinking slightly into the damp grass. Under the shelter of a sprawling oak, he saw her. A small figure, hunched over a grave marked Maria Rodriguez. She was perhaps 7 or 8, a sprite of a child swallowed by a puffy pink coat 2 sizes too big, its grime a stark contrast to its once cheerful color. Her dark, tangled hair was plastered to her cheeks by rain and tears. She wasn't just crying, she was shuddering with the force of it, her small fists pressed against the cold stone, as if she could pound her way through to the other side. Leo's first instinct, honed by decades in cutthroat negotiations, was to assess, to strategize. A homeless child, a security issue, a social worker's number. But the sound of her weeping pierced through those layers. It was the sound of a world ending. He knew that sound. He'd made it himself into Elena's pillow the night she was diagnosed. He knelt, careful not to loom. "Little one," he said softly. She jerked as if struck, scrambling back, her huge dark eyes wide with a fear that was animalistic. She pressed herself against the tombstone, a protective barrier between her and the world. "It's all right," Leo said, staying low, his hands visible. He gestured to Elena's grave, visible from where they stood. "I come here to talk to my wife, too." The girl's gaze flickered between him and Elena's stone. Her sobs hitched, reduced to ragged, wet breaths. She said nothing, just watched him with a suspicion that aged her terribly. "My name is Leo. What's yours?" Silence. Then a whisper so faint it was almost lost in the rustle of leaves. "Luz." Light. Her name was Light. The irony was a physical ache. "That's a beautiful name, Luz. Is Maria your—" "My abuela," the girl whispered, a fresh wave of tears spilling over. She got really cold, and then she didn't wake up. The man at the shelter said she had to come here." She looked at the fresh mound of earth, her lower lip trembling violently. "I don't have anyone to make sopa now." The words were a simple, devastating confession. It wasn't just about the loss of a person, it was about the loss of soup, the loss of the ritual, the warmth, the care. Leo understood that language. It was Elena's language. "Would you—" He cleared the unfamiliar tightness from his throat. "Would you like to come with me, just for a little while? You can get dry, and I might be able to find some soup." He expected refusal, flight, but Luz, exhausted by grief and cold, just stared at him with those ancient eyes. Slowly, she gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. The drive to the Volkov penthouse was conducted in silence. Luz sat stiffly in the cavernous back seat of the sedan, her small body a rigid island in a sea of cream leather. She didn't gawk at the city lights. She stared at her hands, clenched in her lap. Leo gave quiet instructions to his driver, Carlos, whose kind eyes met Leo's in the rearview mirror with unspoken understanding. The penthouse was not a home, it was a monument. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased a breathtaking panorama of the glittering skyline. Everything was sleek, minimal, and cold. Sterile white surfaces, abstract art, silent ambient lighting. It was a space designed for high-powered meetings and solitary contemplation, not for living. Luz stepped in, her worn sneakers squeaking on the polished concrete floor. She didn't remove her coat. She simply stood, a smudge of damp, distressed color in the monochrome vastness. "Let's get you warmed up," Leo said, his voice echoing strangely. He led her to a guest bathroom stocked with unopened, ridiculously plush towels and designer soaps. He rummaged in a linen closet, finding an old, soft Yale sweatshirt of his. It would swallow her whole. While she was in the bathroom, Leo stood in his clinically perfect kitchen, panicking. Soup. He'd promised soup. His culinary skills were limited to ordering in and burning toast. The stainless steel refrigerator hummed, stocked with prepared meals from an elite service. He pulled out a container labeled heirloom tomato bisque. It looked elegant, tasteless. He was heating it when Luz emerged. She was lost in the gray sweatshirt, the sleeves rolled a dozen times. Her face was scrubbed pink, her hair damp and neatly combed back. She looked younger, more fragile. She padded over to the kitchen island and hoisted herself onto a stool, her legs dangling. Leo placed the bisque before her, a delicate porcelain bowl, a silver spoon. She looked at it, then at him, her expression unreadable. She took a tentative sip, and then she did something that shattered Leo more than her cemetery weeping had. She set the spoon down quietly, politely, and pushed the bowl away a fraction of an inch. "It's not abuela's," she said simply. There was no anger, just a statement of absolute, irrevocable fact. "What was hers like?" Leo asked, leaning against the counter. Luz's eyes grew distant. "It smelled like our kitchen. Warm, like garlic and onions singing in the pot. And she'd let me drop in the carrots. Plop, plop, plop. She always put a little piece of cinnamon stick in. You couldn't eat it, but it made the whole house smile." She wrapped her arms around herself. "This tastes like the airplane food the lady on the bus had once." Leo looked at the rejected bisque, this $40 affront. He thought of Elena's chaotic, beautiful kitchen, always steaming, always fragrant with dill and baking bread. A reckless idea, fragile as a soap bubble, formed. "Luz, I don't know how to make your abuela soup, but my wife, Elena, she had a recipe for chicken noodle soup. It was the best thing in the world. I haven't made it since he trailed off. Maybe we could try, together. You could tell me if we're doing it right." For the first time, a flicker of something other than despair lit Luz's face. Curiosity, a faint, ghostly echo of a child's interest. She nodded. What followed was chaos of the most beautiful kind. Leo, in his tailored trousers and dress shirt, fumbled through Elena's recipe box, a wooden chest untouched for 3 years. His hands trembled as he pulled out the card for Leo's Cure-All Soup in her looping, generous handwriting. They raided the pantry, which was woefully inadequate. Carlos was dispatched on an emergency grocery run for a whole chicken, the kind with bones that can talk, as Luz insisted, celery, fat carrots, and wide egg noodles. Leo filled a stock pot, the one Elena used to call the cauldron, with water. Luz stood on a stool, carefully, solemnly placing the chicken inside. "We have to say hello to it," she instructed. "Thank you, chicken, for becoming soup." Leo, feeling absurd and profoundly moved, repeated the words. As the water began to simmer, the kitchen transformed. The clinical sterility was steamed away, replaced by the honest, primal scent of boiling poultry and onion. Leo chopped carrots clumsily. Luz, with intense concentration, snapped celery stalks, giggling at the crack. Flour dusted the graphite countertops. They were both novices, guided by the ghost of Elena's instructions. "Sweat the onions until they weep, Leo. Don't rush them. Salt is a friend, not a bully. Taste as you go." Luz, perched on her stool, became a tiny professor. Abuela said the bubbles should dance, not scream, she advised, pointing at the pot. When Leo added the noodles, she watched their transformation with awe. "They're getting happy," she exclaimed. The soup simmered, filling the silent penthouse with a haze of belonging. They sat at the kitchen island, waiting. Luz, wrapped in the huge sweatshirt, her feet swinging, told him fragments of her life with Maria. The tiny apartment that smelled of cumin and fabric softener, the way her abuela hummed old songs while rolling out tortillas, the library visits every Saturday, a life of palpable love and palpable scarcity. The soup was, by any objective standard, probably mediocre. The carrots were uneven, the broth a touch cloudy, but when Leo ladled it into 2 bowls, the aroma was a time machine. It was Elena. It was warmth. It was home. Luz blew on a spoonful, her eyes closed as she tasted. She opened them and they were swimming again, but this time with a different emotion. "It's not abuela's," she said, and Leo's heart dipped. Then she gave a small, trembling smile. "It's good soup." They ate in companionable silence, the only sound the clink of spoons and the city's distant hum. In that moment, the millionaire and the homeless girl were just 2 souls, keeping the cold at bay with a shared bowl. The journey that began that night was not a straight line. It was messy, legal, and emotional. There were social workers, court appearances, a meticulous and tender excavation of Luz's extended family. There was a great aunt in Arizona, overwhelmed but kind. Leo's world of mergers and acquisitions was suddenly filled with parenting books, school applications, and the profound terror of failing this tiny, resilient human. Luz's integration into his life was a quiet revolution. She filled the sterile spaces with her presence. A lopsided clay mug she made at a community center art class sat beside his espresso machine. Her drawings of fantastical birds and soup pots were magnetized to the stainless steel fridge. The silent penthouse now echoed with the sounds of children's science show and her earnest practice reading aloud. But the true alchemy happened in the kitchen. It became their neutral ground, their sanctuary. They cooked Elena's recipes, with Luz's memories of Maria's touch woven in. They made palemni from Elena's Ukrainian childhood, Luz's small hands learning to pinch the dumplings shut. They attempted Maria's arroz con pollo, burning the bottom of the paella pan and laughing until they cried. They created hybrid dishes, like chicken soup with Ukrainian dumplings and a hint of cinnamon. It was their story in edible form, a little messy, a fusion of grief and hope, but nourishing. One rainy Saturday afternoon, months later, they were elbow-deep in flour, attempting Elena's famous honey cake. The recipe was complex, a legendary family test. The kitchen was a beautiful disaster. Bowls piled high, smudges of batter on Luz's cheek, a dusting of flour in Leo's hair. Luz was carefully layering the tricky cake rounds with honey cream. "I think Abuela Elena would be proud," she said, her tongue poking out in concentration. "I think she'd say we used too much honey," Leo chuckled, wiping a spot of cream from her nose. "No such thing," she declared with the authority of an 8-year-old chef. She finished the last layer and stepped back. The cake was lopsided. The icing was uneven. It was perfect. They didn't cut it right away. They sat at the sun-dappled kitchen table, now scarred with knife marks and sticky spots, looking at their creation. The city sprawled below them, but up here, in their cloud of flour and honey, the world had condensed to this room. "You know," Leo said softly, "when I found you, I thought I was rescuing you." Luz looked at him, her eyes clear and bright. "Were you?" Leo thought of the silence before her, the hollow victories, the cold perfection of his life. He thought of the warmth of the soup pot, the sound of her reading, the crushing, wonderful responsibility of being someone's Leo. He thought of the 2 women, Elena and Maria, whose love was now the bedrock of this improbable, beautiful family they were building. "No, Solnishka," he said, his voice thick. He reached over and took her small, sticky hand in his. "No, sunshine." Outside, the rain had stopped. A weak, golden afternoon sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm, hopeful light across their lopsided cake, their messy kitchen, and their unfinished, beautiful recipe for a family. It wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic endings. It was about the next meal, the next small kindness, the next shared, ordinary moment. It was, they both knew, just the beginning.